And cut. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Making Sang, first name May King, and welcome to the FOMO Creator Show. How are you? Are you having a good week? FOMO means the fear of missing out, and in business is a good thing. So if you want to sell out your next conference, festival, digital challenge, networking event, award ceremony, your book launch, your product, your service, you have come to the right place. Now, today we are going to be talking about, as I bring up my teleprompter, what's the difference between a FOMO creator and a social media manager. Now, this was actually born out of a conversation that I had. Actually, it was more than I thought it was 2 years ago, but I just worked out it's actually more like 4 or 5 years ago. And after an attendee of a conference, she saw me speak there twice. I live tweeted, I Instagrammed, I Facebooked. She came up to me and she said, I'm actually exhibiting at a conference, and I think that the conference will need your services. So she recommended my services to the conference. Now, I emailed with the conference organizer, hoping to organize a catch up. And they said, no, thanks. We don't need one. We've got a social media manager. Thank you. Now, back then, this is 4 or 5 years ago, I wasn't experienced enough to counteract the objections. It's the Chinese in me. I don't like facing conflict. Hashtag making mistakes. And I just left it. Anyway, so I bumped into the attendee a few weeks later. I said, "Oh, how did the conference go?" And she said, "You know what? They really needed your services. They tweeted 5 times and thought that they did a really good job." Now, my personal best, funnily enough, at that conference that I just talked about, was 1,376 tweets. I went onto Facebook Live 5 times, I think it was. We reached 31 million people, and I also did Instagram for them. And I also spoke twice at the 2-day conference too. Yeah, I know that there is a difference between social media manager and creating FOMO. Now, before we even talk about the differences, I actually need to talk about what is FOMO, right? Now, FOMO, if you're not down with kids, if you were to Google it, it will tell you that it is anxiety that an exciting or interesting event may currently be happening elsewhere, often aroused by posts seen on social media. Now, when I first declared myself as a FOMO creator, I got a couple of DMs and they said to me, FOMO? I don't want FOMO. I want JOMO, the joy of missing out. But do you? Do you want the joy of your lurkers? Because let's face it, we've all got lurkers on the socials. Do you want the joy of your lurkers missing out on your business? No. Do you want the joy of people not coming to your events? No, absolutely not. Now, I get it. On a personal sense, sometimes you do want JOMO. You do want the joy of missing out. When you see your friends, your colleagues going on, holidays or buying their next new thing, whatever it is, and you might feel a little bit sad, but then you might think, well, you know what? I'm quite glad to stay at home. I'm okay with that. So I get that. But when it comes to your own business, when it comes to you wanting to raise money for a charity, when it comes to you fundraising, when it comes to you wanting to promote your products, your services, your book launch, your event, your festival, and so on, you want FOMO. You want people to feel the FOMO and book that event, book your ticket, buy your book, your product, your service. And that's what I mean when it comes to being a FOMO creator. So if we go back to the difference between a FOMO creator and a social media manager, I created my own social media posts back in the day. So I was my own social media manager. Then I was hired to be a social media manager back in the day as well. And so I accidentally became a FOMO creator. And now I've created my own job as a FOMO creator. So what does a social media manager do? Well, it's really interesting. I actually Googled it and it came up with all sorts of terrible Terrible definitions. This is one of the best that I could find, which is from Buffer, and they said that a social media manager might be responsible for setting up the strategy of an upcoming product launch, creating video, analyzing data across platforms, designing viral GIFs or GIFs, however you want to pronounce them, creating graphics, coordinating messages with PR and communications, running paid advertisements, and lots more. So you can see a social media manager is so important, and this is why you need both. They've got an incredible job strategizing, planning, creating. They've got the pressure from the managers to make something go viral. That's a crock of rubbish, by the way, but that's another conversation to be had. But that's what a social media manager does. Now, it's interesting. When I googled what is a FOMO creator, up I popped everywhere on page one of Google. Of course, I did because I'm the OG. But if I was to write a Google definition, this is my first attempt. This is what I would say. A FOMO creator works alongside a social media manager to create the buzz and excitement of a conference, a festival, networking event, award ceremony, a digital challenge. I've done all of those, by the way, or a product, a service, a book launch, live on the client's social media platforms. Right here, right now, to quote Fatboy Slim. So hopefully you can see that there is a difference. And, I've often said this before in my previous episodes that FOMO really bridges the gap between social media and PR. A social media manager will do the work of sometimes a PR agency. They may bring in a PR agency to write those press releases, get them on TV, get their client on radio, and that kind of stuff. A social media manager plans, does a lot of research and all those bits and pieces. As a FOMO creator, I sort of sit on top of that. Okay, and you can see here that we've got a picture of the Truman Show. Now, for those of you who are old enough to remember, if you're a 90s kid like me, you'll know there was a fabulous show by Jim Carrey called The Truman Show. Now, with Jim Carrey, he was being filmed 24/7. Now, unlike Jim Carrey's character, we don't need to film ourselves 24/7 because that would be boring. But what we can do as a FOMO creator is actually share a little insight into what we do because humans, we're all incredibly nosy. Why do you think these reality TV shows are so popular? They're so popular. We're even watching people watching TV. How crazy is that? So, as a FOMO creator, we have the power to create our own Truman Show, but not film ourselves 24/7, but definitely film behind the scenes stuff, showcasing our authority, creating that content for the lurkers, creating that buzz and excitement on the socials right here, right now. And this works alongside a social media manager who strategizes plans and does a lot of research and creates a lot of social media posts in the meantime. So, to be a FOMO creator, what are the prerequisites? Well, you really need a community. Okay, so if I have been asked before to create a FOMO, and I've had a look at their socials, I've have a bit of a chat with them, and what they really needed is a social media manager to help build their community, build more engagement, more of a following to get people enticed, so that when the time is right, then they can start selling and promoting, and then trying to get people to their event or their book launch or product or service launch or something like that, digital challenge or what have you. And I've helped social media managers do that before. I've done that for conferences before. Um, Building relationships. Again, social media managers are brilliant at doing that. When they've put up a social media post and someone has responded, then the social media manager may sort of get into a conversation and then try and get them into the DMs. Okay. A social media manager is responsible for showcasing that their client is an authority in their field. Okay. So, showcasing that you are authentic, you are an expert in your field. You can do all of this stuff. And you can see that the 5 letters that I've got here, brand, build community, relationship build, authority, notoriety, direct communication. The first letters of all those spells brand, and a social media manager can help you with the first 3 letters, BRA. So basically, I'm telling you that your social media managers can help you to put your bra on. Laughing at my own joke. Now, I did talk about the 5 steps to creating FOMO, and FOMO starts at the authentic authority level. So after you've put your bra on, basically, and if you want a copy of those slides, you can see that there is a link there, bit.ly /kickstart FOMO. So I was a closing keynote for a conference in Dublin, and I talked a little bit about that. So those are the prerequisites. Now, for an event, okay, again, you can't expect people to come to an event if people don't know who you are. So you have to build that community. You need to build relationships with people, even if it's picking up the phone or emailing people. Getting into people's DMs, going to networking events, and building relationships there. Showcasing that you are worth listening to. You have to put up content of expertise out onto the socials. And, when the time is right, you may want to hire a PR agency or, do some of the PR yourself. That's notoriety. So whenever you get testimonials, you put them out there onto the socials. And then when the time is right for your client, they will slide into your DMs and want to talk to you. And so if you are running an event, if you haven't got a community, if you haven't got a following, if you haven't got a warm audience, which is a technical term, then it is, very challenging to actually create FOMO. I've done it. It's a lot more challenging. It's a lot harder. It still can be done. But if you've got a ready-made audience there, they're already primed to possibly buy from you, but they're still sitting on the fence. They're still not sure. They're still lurking on your stuff and not sure. That's where the FOMO bit kicks in. And so that's how I can help you to create FOMO. And as you can see here, this is a picture of me. This was way back in 2012, actually. Oh my gosh, that's like 10 years ago. And I ran a business called Making Tea. Get it? Laughing at my own joke. And I was performing Chinese tea ceremony, for a 6-month exhibition, collaborating with the creative director of the Beijing Olympics. How cool is that? So he had an installation at the Gallery of Modern Art in Queensland, in Brisbane, and he wanted someone to perform Chinese Gong Fu tea ceremony. So the Gallery of Modern Art, they Googled Chinese tea ceremony Brisbane. Up I popped everywhere. Of course I did. And so I was tasked with performing Chinese tea ceremony every Sunday, which was incredible. But what I did was I created FOMO. I took photographs. I talked about what I did. I reminded people that this was an exhibition. I would be performing tea ceremony. I would be serving Sai Guoshang's favorite tea from his province, the Fujian province, which is the Iron Goddess of Mercy tea. Oh, it was stunning, 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 stunning. And because Brisbane is a really, really warm climate, I actually made a cold infusion as well. So people could have the hot version where I would perform Chinese tea ceremony, and I would have a cold infusion there for people just to take sips away. But we couldn't have done that if the Gallery of Modern Art don't have subscribers, if they don't have people who love art and exhibitions and so on. If I'd have had to work hard in trying to bring people in, then that would have been challenging. It could be done, but challenging. So the next step is, how can social media managers and FOMO creators work together? And they absolutely can. And I've done this. I'm just going to demonstrate some of the things that I've done in the past. We've got the fabulous Joanne Sweeney. Joanne Sweeney is the founder of Public Sector Marketing Pros. She's written a couple of books on how you, as a social media manager, how you can create the right kind of social media content for the public sector. Absolutely incredible woman. And she hired me to create FOMO. And so I worked alongside her social media manager, who was Sinead at the time. And so you can see there's a lovely picture of the three of us there. Sinead is looking at Joanne's phone. I'm also sort of tapping away behind with my orange cap on. And then you can see in the top right-hand corner, there's a photograph there of me interviewing Joanne. So as a FOMO creator, I encouraged Joanne to actually create a bit of buzz, a bit of excitement, let people know what was happening in that morning to give people FOMO so that if people missed out on this conference, then they could definitely sign up for next year's conference. That was a whole idea. Excuse me. And as you can see, I don't know if you could just make out there, I'm actually holding two phones. So I was actually broadcasting on Joanne's social media, and I was also broadcasting on my own as well, just so officially as an influencer in the digital airwaves. It was just to promote a little bit about what Joanne does. So I was actually holding two phones at the time. And in the bottom right hand corner, you can see there the fabulous Sinead there and myself, and we both took pictures of the same thing. What was happening was Joanne had hired an ice cream cart. It was a fabulous idea, because then suddenly a queue was formed, and people were deciding on what ice cream to buy. Now, isn't that a bit of fun? I mean, what conference organizes an ice cream cart to their conference? Now, wouldn't you want to go to a conference like that? It's a lot of fun, right? Yeah, of course it is. So Sinead was posting that on Instagram. I was tweeting that on the public sector DMS account, and Joanne Sweeney's account as well. So that's how the two of us can work alongside each other. Sinead is a social media manager, me as a FOMO creator. I was interviewing and tweeting, Sinead was Instagramming. Now, I've done this for many conferences, and the first conference that I did it with was actually, the second conference that I did it with was actually Andrew and Pete. Now, for some of you who follow my stuff in the past, you'll know that I love Andrew and Pete. They were the first conference that I pitched to, and the first conference that I actually created FOMO on more than one platform, because I've been live tweeting for other clients for the longest time. And when I pitched to Andrew and Pete, I was ever so proud of myself pitching to them. I said, would you like a professional live tweeter? And Andrew and Pete said, can you do Instagram and Facebook as well? I said, yeah, sure, no problem. Google's what's Instagram? No, I'm kidding. I knew what Instagram was. But for the first time in 2019, I tweeted, I Instagrammed, I Facebook lived. They loved it. I generated 40% of the total tweets. It reached 28.5 million. The tweets that I tweeted on behalf of Andrew and Pete reached 17 million, and we trended on the same day as International Women's Day. How amazing is that? And along with the 15 Facebook Lives where I interviewed people and speakers and sponsors, I did 22 Instagram stories as well. We sold 425 tickets in a week. In a week. Now, Andrew and Pete have got a ready-made audience. They've got a warm audience. There were people sitting on the fence, so they were creating content for the lurkers. And in fact, Harry know this because the following year in Atomicon 20, Andrew and Pete had to very quickly change it into an online conference. And someone asked the question, why did you sign up to Atomicon 20? And a couple of people, I screenshotted it, they said, got FOMO. They actually got FOMO. So from Atomicon 19, they were sat on the fence whether to go to the conference or not. They saw some of the tweets that I generated, some of the attendees generated tweets and Instagram stories, Facebook posts, LinkedIn posts. And, those two people that I managed to screenshot, they saw some of that and thought, oh my God, that sounds like fun. Oh my goodness, the speakers are amazing. I've got to book on. And that's what FOMO is about. That is the difference. Now, this year, at Atomicon 23, because Andrew and Pete are so big now, they're massive, they thought, well, let's have a dedicated person to do Instagram and a dedicated person to do Twitter. So I was brought into Tweet, and then we had the fabulous Laura who was brought into Instagram. So again, working alongside Laura was amazing because we both worked together to produce the same epic content to put out onto the socials. And on the right hand side, you can see there that for Atomicon 23, 825 tickets were sold in 10 days for a conference that's happening next year. How cool is that? So hopefully you can see how a social media manager and a FOMO creator can work alongside each other. And we've got the fabulous Hel Reynolds, who is founder of Comms Creatives. She brought in her sister into the business, which I absolutely love. And we talked about the difference between a social media manager and a FOMO creator and why you need both. And she asked me some amazing questions just on the fly. So I was thinking on the fly of real life examples that we did that would be useful to her audience. And we had a great conversation. It's about 20, 30 minutes. If you want to have a look at it, it's bit.ly/comms creators FOMO. And do make sure that you do capital C again, and FOMO all in capital letters. Otherwise, bit.ly won't like it. Now, Helen, or Hel, as she likes to be called, she's actually hired me to write a course specifically for her membership. And I believe that you can actually buy one-off courses as well. So if you want to find out more, go to commscreators.com/social media courses, and you can have a look at all the other amazing experts and all the other amazing courses that you can book onto. Now I'm delivering mine, how to use FOMO for events, on September the 19th. Now don't worry, because if you don't run events, you can create an event out of anything, and I am going to be talking a lot more about that on that day. So if you do want to find out more about that, you can slide into my DMs. Or you could go to Comms Creatives and find out more there. But do go and listen out to the conversation that we had, because it was really, really fascinating. And she asked some fantastic questions there. Now, I deliver training to help social media managers as well. So, in the top left-hand corner, I had to put a smiley face over the lady, because I didn't get a response when I tried to get permission to share the screenshot. But this lady is a social media manager and a community manager for a client. The client has seen my work and wanted me to give her social media manager a bit of consultancy on how to generate buzz and excitement for her digital challenge. The bottom left-hand corner is a tweet, and it's actually an article that Jim Katzeman, who follows me on Twitter, and whenever I do a Twitter chat with Madeline Sklar, he always does a write-up about it afterwards, which is wonderful. It's absolutely wonderfully written. So I've often talked about FOMO there. I've talked about social media managers there as well. And as I say, I've actually delivered training directly to social media managers. So the bottom right-hand corner, I was actually WhatsApping this particular chap who is creating social media he's creating social media content for his boss, and he's also picked up a couple of clients as a side hustle as well. So I'm helping him to stretch his mind a little bit further, to not just promote, but to actually create buzz, excitement, FOMO, and edutain, as well as selling as well. So, what is the difference between social media management and FOMO creator? Well, I already talked a lot about it already, but I put down a very, very quick checklist, I suppose, of that. So on the left-hand side, social media managers, they plan, they research, they strategize, they schedule. They can also take on the role of a community manager in order to respond to replies, DMs, and that kind of stuff. So they are really methodical, and they're brilliant at what they do. They take their time. They're amazing. FOMO creators, what I do and FOMO creators do is we take over our client's account. We create live social media content. So it sits alongside any content that social media managers do. Social media is broadcast possibly to one or more platforms. So it's done simultaneously. So there's been many clients that I have Instagrammed and tweeted and created LinkedIn posts and Facebook posts all at the same time. I've created FOMO for just clients who just want Instagram stories. I've created FOMO for people who just want Instagram posts. I've done FOMO for just Twitter, but I have done all of the platforms as well in the past. Now, it's different content to social media managers because it's, it's on the fly. It is, at an event, at a digital challenge, at a book launch, and you're thinking all the time. You're listening, you're thinking, you're posting, you're thinking, you're posting, you're figuring out what to get, the kind of quotes you want to interview, and there's lots and lots of stuff. And it takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of energy. That's why I sleep for like 3 days afterwards, after an event. So that's why you need both. Hopefully, that gives you a bit of a flavor of the difference between a social media manager and a FOMO creator. Not all social media managers are brave enough or who want to be the face for their client. A lot of people want to hide behind their keyboards, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. In fact, I've had some clients who said to me, yes, I love what you do, but I don't want your face anywhere around my social media, which is absolutely fine. So I can tweet, I can create, social media, I can create Instagram stories. I don't need to do the interviews. It has to be all about the client or what the client wants. But there are some clients of mine who love what I do, love my energy. They want to inject that fun and excitement into a conference so that other people can see what a fun place it is. So it's entirely up to you. I can adapt to your situations. Now, back to the FOMO. This is just a little prompt for me to show you a fabulous video that Mark Orr from Pocket Video School, he normally pushes my buttons. But as I'm doing a solo show, I'm pushing all the buttons myself. But Mark does some incredible videos, and he did this one for me, which I absolutely love. So check this out. Back to the FOMO! Isn't that amazing? So, just as very, very briefly, as I said, when you've got an event, a physical event, whether it's online, whether it is in person, a festival, a conference, a summit, a digital challenge, something that's live, an event where you need a lot of interaction, then that's where you need a FOMO creator. A FOMO creator creates content live on the fly, captures those moments, those happy moments, those exciting, those buzzy moments, broadcasts it onto one or more social media platforms with the view of creating FOMO for your lurkers, because let's face it, we've all got lurkers on the socials, right? We need to create content for the lurkers, and so a dedicated FOMO creator can do that for you whilst you run your event. You haven't got time. You have not got time to create your own content because you're too busy running around making sure that everybody is okay at your conference or your festival or your workshop or your networking event or your award ceremony. So hire someone, a FOMO creator dedicated to do that. A FOMO creator can definitely work alongside a social media manager. And so, get your social media manager to create more content live on the fly, right here, right now. And if your social media manager is a bit stuck for ideas on what kind of content to create, then send them over my way, and I can deliver some training for them or work with them at your next event. Hopefully, that has given you a bit of a guideline on what FOMO is all about. Now, the next bit I want to talk about is Shameless plug alert. And a FOMO shout out. So I've given a few FOMO shout outs so far. The fabulous Hel Reynolds from Comms Creators. Do go and check her out. Mark Orr, as I mentioned, he does some incredible video, transforms your Zoom to boom. If you want to go and check him out, please do. But the biggest thing that I really want to give a massive shout out to is to my dear friend, Amanda Webb from Spider Working fame, because we have launched a podcast. It is called The Extra Shot. And I'm proper excited because it is a weekly show that we run. We ran it on Twitter Spaces for quite a while. Then, because Musk is not our friend, we moved on to LinkedIn Audio. And LinkedIn Audio, we can't download it, we can't record it, people can't see the replay. So after a lot of help from the fabulous Jason Falls, do go and follow him across the socials. He is the founder of NPN Podcasts. So he has a whole host of different podcasts within the digital area, within the digital marketing space. And he very kindly asked us if we'd want to be part of their network, their podcast family, and we said yes. And so he helped me, who's not very technical, and Amanda, who is very technical, to launch the Extra Shot. Now, the Extra Shot is based on Amanda's digital coffee that she runs, which is a 30-minute show that runs every Friday at 9:30, where she goes through 7 pieces of the latest digital marketing news. And then the Extra Shot that we run on LinkedIn Audio, we select one of those news items and we discuss it in a lot of detail. Sometimes we agree, sometimes we disagree. And what we also do is bring people in. So if you've got an opinion or a thought on the latest news, then we bring people in and they share their comments as well. And on LinkedIn Audio, in return for them sharing their thoughts and opinions, we get them to promote their business. So if you want a bit of publicity for your business, then you have to join us at 10:30 every Friday and give yourself a bit of a plug. And then Amanda works her magic, and then she downloads the LinkedIn Audio and then broadcasts it across all the socials. So I believe it's available on Apple, on Spotify, on your favorite player. And yeah, let us know your thoughts. We've had some feedback already on the show, and we've taken some of the feedback on board. And last week, we as we were discussing things, Amanda, she just had a brain freeze, and she said, "Oh my goodness, it's my perimenopausal brain." I think I had a brain freeze as well. So I struggle with perimenopause as well. But it's too much of I have to say. So we've actually decided we're going to create a button called the menopause button. And it might make its debut tomorrow. It might not. But there we are. So I hope you enjoyed this broadcast. I hope you understand the difference between a social media manager and a FOMO creator, how they can work alongside each other, and why you need both of them in your business. If you've got any more questions, do give me a shout, slide into my DMs. I'm on as FOMO Creator across all the socials, Making Sang on Facebook and LinkedIn. That's MAYKINGTSANG. Now I'm going to leave you with a fabulous video that my fabulous friend and video creator Tim Lewis has created, which is a list of all the subtitles, credits that I want to give a shout out to all my dearest friends and people who've brought this show together. Couldn't have done it without them. Just wanted to thank them. And it's based on a Star Wars theme. This has been the FOMO Creator Show. And if I don't see you, in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.